Here we go again. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today's episode is going to be Chicken Cordon Bleu. Chicken Cordon Bleu translates into blue ribbon chicken. I don't remember the whole story, but it was created. Yeah, I don't know why. Let's get into it. All right, Chicken Cordon Bleu has chicken stuffed with ham and Swiss cheese, but I want to kick it up a little bit and I want to use a little bit of a better product inside. So today we're going to stuff it with a little bit of prosciutto and Swiss Emmentaler cheese. It's a little bit stronger of a Swiss cheese, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more aged. It says it's aged 4 months and it's made from cow's milk. So let's get into it. We're going to take our chicken, we're going to split it in half, we're going to pound it thin, we're going to make it so that we can roll it. We're going to take our prosciutto, our Emmentaler cheese, a little bit of seasoning, probably salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder is my general go-to seasonings. It always helps. We're going to take that, we're going to roll it into the pounded chicken breast, and then we're going to bread it. We're going to use the traditional breading. We're going to use flour, egg wash, and panko breadcrumbs. With that, it's going to be a little bit loose. So I'm going to show you one of the tricks that I used to do in the restaurants. We're going to take our breast, we're going to fill it up, we're going to shape it, we're going to put it on a plate with a little bit of plastic wrap, and we're going to throw it in the freezer to get it hard. Once it's a nice firm consistency, then we're going to go through and bread it, and then we'll deep fry it, and we're going to serve it with Dijon and a little bit of bechamel, which is bechamel is our mother sauce. If you've looked on my website, you can see how to make bechamel. And we're going to turn that into a compound sauce, which is going to be a Dijonnaise sauce. And I've always gravitated towards Grey Poupon. Has a really good flavor. You don't need much else. A little bit of salt, a little pepper, maybe some chicken stock if you so desire. With that being said, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to prep my cutting board and let's get into it. Two things I want to touch on. One, the reason why I'm going to take the chicken and the prosciutto and the Emmentaler cheese after I roll it, and I'm going to put it in the freezer. The reason I'm hardening it up is because if you try to do it at room temperature, you're not going to get a true good coating with the flour, the egg, and the breadcrumbs. When you freeze it and you make it basically a frozen cylinder, the coating will stick to it better. It'll just be a more uniform product. Okay, just so you can see this chicken is pretty thick. What I did with the previous one, I laid it flat. I can feel it's going down on an angle, but you want to take your knife and you want to keep it horizontal with the cutting board. Find your thickness that you want that splits the difference between both pieces and slide it across. And that's it. Also, let me explain this one. When we take the prosciutto and the Emmentaler cheese and we're putting it into the chicken, instead of just stuffing it, we're actually going to turn it into pinwheel. So what I'm hoping is you're going to see the white of the chicken, you're going to see the darker of the prosciutto, and then you're going to have the gooiness of the cheese inside of it. So when you slice into it, you'll see the nice little circular motion going through display on the plate at the end. That's the hope. Let's see what happens. All right, so we're going to season both sides of the chicken cordon bleu. We're going to put salt and black pepper, granulated onion, and granulated garlic on both sides of our chicken cutlet. Okay, so we have two really big cutlets. and 2 really tiny cutlets. I'm going to lay these 2 tiny cutlets together. You see how I did that? This was the fat end, fat end, fat end, fat end of the breast. So I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm actually going to flip it over because this part is real skinny. So I'm going to overlap it with the other skinny part. Fat side, fat side. So when we lay it out, now it looks like 3 pieces. And since I'm freezing it anyway, you won't notice. Okay, I'm gonna grate up my Emmentaler cheese, and I'm gonna lay the prosciutto on the chicken breast. You can see it's a type of Swiss cheese. I haven't had it in a long time. It is a very, I don't know, it's a strong Swiss cheese. It has tang to it. Very, very good flavor. All right, let me get a plate with some plastic wrap. But what I did, I laid a piece of plastic on top of it so the chicken doesn't actually stick to the plate when I freeze it. Now we're going to tuck the ends in. That's open. We're just going to fold it down, tuck it in. Now you can see why this would be hard. This will not be a really easy piece to bread if you're trying to do this all in one sitting, being not frozen. All right, rolled in, the end is tucked, the end is tucked in. And that's pretty much a uniform piece. This should fry pretty evenly. All right, there it is. One is definitely bigger than the other. Other 2, I should say. So that one might fry a little longer and be in the oven a little bit longer. But now we're going to take this, put it in the freezer. I'll see you for the breading procedure once this is frozen. So I'm editing with my sous chef, and he's quite bored and he's not very happy with me. But what can I do? All right, I couldn't resist putting that in there. My bored sous chef. All right, so I have the chicken out. You can see that it's totally frozen solid. I wanted to narrate this because there's a few things that happened. I haven't done this in a while, meaning I haven't breaded something frozen. And there's a point right here where, I don't know if you notice, the first time that I take the chicken from the egg wash and put it into the breadcrumbs, that it is not really sticking. And I forgot about the time frame. You need to get the breadcrumbs onto the egg wash almost immediately. If it doesn't, the egg wash freezes and the breadcrumb won't bind to the egg wash. But so being the problem, a fun little happenstance happened, and you see that I actually double bread with the panko breadcrumbs. I go from the egg wash to the breadcrumbs, back to the egg wash here, and again to the breadcrumbs a second time. And I did it a little bit faster than the first time. And it gave such an amazing crunch and an amazing coat. My little error and problem actually led to something very tasty. So I just wanted to bring that point out to you, that if you only wanted to bread it once, when you go from the egg wash to the breadcrumbs, you have to be immediate and quick. Otherwise, the egg wash will freeze. So just figured I'd point that out. Here, I don't wait to 350.
I'm going to start.
I wanted it to sit at 330 degrees, again, because the product was frozen. And whenever you put something away, go from closest to furthest when you lay it in the oil, as you saw here. That way, if it splashes and slips out of your hand, the oil splatters to the back of the stove, not towards you. I want to try and maintain, like I said, 330 degrees. I only fry each side about 2 minutes just to get my golden brown color. Here it stuck on me, so I didn't want to ruin the coating. So I loosened it by scraping the pan with the spatula. And as you can see, no harm, no foul. Now, the end result was actually pretty tasty with the prosciutto and the Emmentaler cheese. But I made one with turkey bacon for my wife. That's why you see 4 on the pan. She chooses not to eat pork, so I made it with turkey bacon. And actually, when I sliced into hers at the end, when we all sat down for dinner, hers smelled really, really good. So I would think about doing this again with a couple different products. I would probably go with a pork bacon for myself, get that smoky, strong bacon flavor in there with the Emmentaler cheese. And also I had thoughts of pancetta. Pancetta would be an amazing product inside of there. With that one, I would probably cook it, get it a little crunchy, chop it up like I did her turkey bacon, and lay it in with the Emmentaler cheese. Just from doing that for her, it gave me a few more ideas. I didn't realize how great it smelled with that bacon flavor in there. So that's going to be a future episode. All right, I turned the oven down to 325 degrees. I wasn't paying attention, but I did put a thermometer inside of the Cordon Bleus before I stuck it in the oven, and they were somewhere around 37, 38 degrees in the center. So with that being said, I didn't want to brown the coating and get it darker in the oven by having it at 350, 375 degrees. So that's why I turned it down to 330 degrees to get the inside up to temperature. And while I was waiting, I took my bechamel, I added a little bit of chicken stock and my Grey Poupon Dijon mustard, and that was it. All right, so it's been in about 20 minutes. My sous chef has come to check it out. Let me see. All right, you can see center. We are at 1:45. He's not a very good cameraman, that's for sure. All right. Stop. Stay. We're at 156 on that one. We're at 138 on that one. But what you want to get the internal temperature to is about 165 degrees. So you didn't see me do it, but the 2 cordon bleus that I pull out reached 167 degrees. I am actually letting the other 2 come up to temperature, and then we're all going to have dinner. So I'm going to take one of these cordon bleus and set up my show plate. When I pan around on the camera, you can see actually how juicy the chicken breast remains. All in all, the cooking from frying to pulling it out in the oven was about 4 minutes of frying and somewhere around 20 to 22 minutes of oven time at 325 degrees. I was so surprised and happy about my little mistake with letting the egg yolk freeze when I was breading this cordon bleus. Led to such a crunchy, crusty exterior. I'm definitely double crusting something else. I'm going to try it with chicken tenders and do it again because I want to see if it was just a fluke or if it's actually just that double breading with the yolk 2 times and the breadcrumbs 2 times. It was just phenomenal. So anyway, thanks for coming along, hanging out. Don't forget to like, and if you have a comment or a suggestion, please leave that down below. Also, if you wouldn't mind, if you have somebody you think would like this episode, please share that with them. I'd really appreciate that. Again, thank you, God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.